I welcome our viewers at the Red Line Show. Today, with me, Henry Kin, Serhiy Kulyas, my name is Dima, and today we will discuss the informational operation in the Kursk region.
What's happening there? Is something wrong in Kursk region?
We don't know during, we didn't know during 7 days what happened there. Something happened, some forces force a river, force the Russian border, and no one knows what is happening. Even Bloomberg trying to call to General Staff of Ukraine.
Yeah, I know. Bloomberg called me also, so, but I wasn't there. So it was
But
my day off, yeah.
nowadays we know, all the Western world know, no one in Russia know what is happening in Kursk region, because all of the Russians thinks that something happening in the Kursk region, and Western media, journalists of Western media already was in Suja in some.
Right, I've seen the guy there.
Yes, and the first was Italian.
Well, the
journalists.
Italians always the first.
Because they drink cappuccino, some pizza they get.
Right,
so let's
get back to it. Yeah.
Yes, and don't be a chauvinist. And the ambassador of Italy in Russia was called in the Russian Ministry of
Attack.
No. Ministry of Foreign Affairs to get known what is happening to comment why their citizens, Italian citizens, go to the Russia without permission from Russian authorities.
Right, and so what? This is my question. Right. Well, yeah. So the thing is that everyone knows what's going on there. We just don't know how to talk about it, right? So the Western media also is trying to find the shape, the format of how to deliver information. Like, for example, what was this publication? Forbes, right? Who informed the viewers and the readers that the Ukrainian army is losing more military equipment during the assault operation while it was in the defense. I believe this is a secret of secrets. Nobody ever would have thought that when you attack, you'll lose more than when you don't. So these are the news today.
Yeah, it's like 2 + 2 is 4. It's not a sensation. It's just a bad, how can we call it? Bad type of informing.
Right.
So because this type of informing is creating of some influence, not influence, information, some information that is Ukrainian is losing equipment, but we are advancing. If anyone advancing, they are losing equipment. But if you read such article, maybe not all the article, but only the title, and you know that Ukrainian is losing equipment. Ukrainian is looking. It's like Russian narrative about that. It is very bad for Ukrainian to attack the Kursk region.
But you see that this is the biggest problem I see here is that the Forbes does not really understand what it is doing. I mean, the journalists just they don't care. I'm sorry, they just don't, because they're not trying even to analyze the thing. And when the editor says we need news, there are no news. The only possible news are from the general staff of our armed forces, and this is the only source that can be trusted.
No, I'm not agree with you because some journalists from Italian media, from BBC, from Ukrainian media that is going to the Suja and showing what is happening there. Because no Russian could be there, we can understand. And the main question is, on the example of Italian journalists, the Italian ambassador was called to the ministry. But
the Russian ministry.
Yes, Russian Ministry of Foreign Affairs, because Italian citizens came to the Russia without any permission.
Perfect, right.
But according to Russian constitution, this piece of paper, the Kherson region is also a territory of Russia, and many foreign journalists working in the Kherson region, in the occupied Kherson, after blowing of Kakhovka Dam when Russian blow the dam. Many foreign journalists working there, and no ambassador was calling to Ministry of Foreign Affairs. But if you cross to the Kursk, it's like real Russia, and Kherson, it's not real Russia.
So what are you trying to say? That Russia is actually also does not understand what's going on and how to treat it. This
I
is
think that Dima, he's talking about that it's question of recognition, that Russia recognized Kursk as a full Russian territory and occupied territory. Even Russians, even Russian officials,
exactly.
they don't
They
worry.
don't believe that the territories occupied in Ukraine are actually Russian. They may say it, but they don't believe it. Of course, this is the case. Of course, it is. But I mean, so what's next? We take a look at the rhetoric of the Western media, like American media. Take a look at what officials say. American officials say that let's wait until this is over, and then we will discuss the results.
Yes, and this is a problem of modern journalism, because there are no media that the media don't have the possibility to be silent. So you could, for example, find some unknown sources and write something
But you have to
stupid,
deliver the news
something
anyway.
stupid like Ukrainian is losing technique via advanced,
Equipment,
but you must wrote something, because as you remember, a week after the beginning of Kursk operation, all the Western media wrote, according to some unknown sources, there are something happening. But we all know that something happening without any sources.
Sources. I mean, I'm the source anyway. So yeah, you're right. Well, being silent, but if you can't being silent, you can talk about that just a word. Like, we don't have the information about it in full, so let's speculate in this. What could be happening now in Kursk region, and then what would be the results in this way and that way? This is all right, but I mean.
No, but you have different ways
Exactly.
to deliver this information, of course,
Absolutely.
without some using of Russian propaganda narratives
Well,
and so
guys,
on.
I mean, I don't know about you, but I'm really enjoying about what's going on. I absolutely love Russia propaganda now being hysterical about what's going on, because the sources you guys, if you don't read Russian, try to look at any source in English that looks like Russian propaganda, because most likely it is, and just read what they all say different things. They all are. It's a panic.
It's
They're
not panic.
panicking. No,
I'm not agree with you, because one of the main strategic of Russia media is everything is possible. So if you read six different articles, all the six wrote about the different things. So you, as a reader, you don't know what of these six
is true.
Is true. Yes, and this is the main strategic of Russia. It was used when
To make a mess, like.
Yes, it was used when MH17 was shut down, because there was some Spanish Spanish people who heard about something.
Citizen.
Not citizen, but yes, citizen, worker of airport.
Right,
Who,
Who heard something?
yes, something. Yes, there was some people who sent some video from the window of airplane MH17.
They like rumors. It's,
Yes, and there was a official report of Atlant Russian company that it was the scalp. It was one shooting another, and there was so many different theories. So ordinary people thinking it's very complicated. I will not dive deep into this question. And and that's why if you read Russian propaganda, if you see there are two main strategies. One is like a mess of some completely different information, and the second is everyone told the same thing. If every Russian media told the same thing, it's information operation.
Okay, so what are you trying to say, that Russia is trying to create a mess now, so nobody actually knows what's going on?
No, Russia and Kremlin don't know what to do.
Exactly. Well, this is what
Henry
I mean.
says
I said that
yeah.
exactly this. So whatever they do, they just don't know. Well, maybe this time this is a real mess, because this is not the mess from the Kremlin. This is the mess that we have created. Our forces invaded an enemy's territory, they delivered what has been ordered. Russia has started a criminal aggression. They might call it a special military operation. But we took this special military operation and we add some sense to it. We deliver it back to Russians on the Russian land. So now the special military operation is our thing. That's what we do in there. And until it is not over, we don't know what for and what will be the result. But one thing is obvious. Again, I'm talking to American politicians. I'm talking to American, former British military people, and they all, at this point, are encouraged about what's going on in Kursk. They are encouraged, and they finally see that a small Ukrainian army. Do you remember this comment in our comments, which was brilliant again? The comment below was, Russia is still the second mightiest army in Russia. I mean, this is great, isn't it? So, whatever is going on in Kursk, we in Ukraine have to find out how to deliver the news about it, because we also don't know how to deliver. We are happy about what's going on, and maybe this is the end of the empire of Russian Federation, and maybe it is possible at least, and maybe we're looking at the end of it, so the end of the war. So, but how to deliver this exactly news? I don't know. Tell me, educate me if you know. Tell me what to do.
It's very simple.
Okay.
You must read unknown sources.
Unknown sources.
Unknown, yes. So
What is-
read some Telegram channels, read some, listen some maybe military experts, and
You know, you mean to not to read and watch the mainstream, but to look for the unknown information.
yes.
A lot of sources and
If you want to know what is happening there,
Right.
if you want to know to deeply know, because
Okay.
information for the ordinary people, they are spreading by the general staff of Ukraine, by main
Intelligence Directorate.
maybe some domains, intelligence directorate, but if there are some known media, they must write that even
Must write.
must write, yes, that must write that according to some sources.
Right. So they have to put the sources.
Yes,
in there.
yes, and you must say that not according to some my very known sources. So this is people who know everything, but I don't tell you who is him. You must write according to Telegram channel XXX
I know,
YYY.
I read you. Right.
There are something happening in on the bridge with the bridges in the on the river Seine, and it will something happening, and you must write in such way, not in a way that like we are speaking to some academic from the Russian institute. They are known with the general in the Russian army staff, and they told that their relatives working in the Kursk region, and they know that now in a 3 day Ukraine will be kicked out from the Kursk region. No, it's not working like this.
Okay. Yeah, I
It's,
read. But the thing is that.
But it still could be some propaganda, for example, pro-Russian.
Well, maybe this is
It
not bad
could
thing.
be. It will be.
It will be.
But you have to understand how to understand where is propaganda and where is true sources.
Well, you know, the propaganda is also true. It's just the other color of truth. So you have to understand. So if this is the propaganda, that means something. If this is exactly what I'm talking about. When I read and I listen to Russian informational media, when I try to hold my breath and dive into this world of Russian media, I see a real panic. Not the panic that is usually, created by one source, the Kremlin, because then I see the plan. I see why, and I clearly understand that this is propaganda and I can work with it. So I can counter that. We have our own measures. We also are Ukrainian propaganda. All right? So, but this time what I see is,
Yeah,
I clearly hear that.
They don't have textbook
Exactly.
now.
They are already used to that. The Kremlin says what to do. Whatever this is. This is the mess that you have talked about, or this is the one voice of 100 publications sounding like Vladimir Putin.
But Vladimir
Now
Putin
nothing.
is,
Vladimir Putin is silent. You know, it's just whatever it is. Maybe. Kursk. All right.
No,
It's
no.
not-
You-
it's just 1% of Russian
you
territory,
saw
less than
Vladimir,
that.
you saw Vladimir Putin during during
The interview.
not interview but speech
The
of
speech with the Kursk, the
yes,
governor.
governor. Yes,
right.
and Vladimir Putin is sitting and what is happening? What is happening? I don't know.
I'll go to Azerbaijan.
Yes, and maybe it was a good decision. Yes,
Yeah.
because it's something
Well,
like
at least our intelligence director knows that Putin is in Azerbaijan now, so maybe that helps. Right? See, this is what I mean. I mean, this is the position. This is not even that panic that can bring Russia down, but that at least shows Western world that Russia, what Russia is a colossus on a feet of clay, and our armed forces just cut its tendons. That's what it did. So it's obviously is a big problem for Russia at the moment. So this, we're already winning in this stuff. Of course, I mean, we are losing military equipment. We're losing people there because this is war, and we are advancing. But we only brought back what Russia brought to Ukraine, and see what's going on there. There are no buchas on Russian land. We are not exercising criminal, brutal force, which was exactly the case here in Ukraine. On contrary, we are specially and specifically attending to the question of human rights of people that actually are lost their life. I mean, also, do you remember that I told you about this guy that actually, imagine, God forbid, that you are in Russian forces. You invaded Ukraine 3 years ago. All right? So you are fighting, you're killing Ukrainians, you're doing whatever you stole from the Kremlin. This is the war. And then in 3 years, you look in your phone and you see that Kursk is now under Ukrainian control, but Kursk is your homeland. So you are literally standing with a gun on a land that is not yours, and understand that land that once was yours is again not yours.
But you see, Russian propaganda is using this cliché for their purposes because they are telling to the people that if we didn't attack 2 years ago,
then Ukraine would attack.
Yes,
Right, well.
because now is happening what we warned you 2 years ago.
Okay.
But they were talking about this for more than 2 years. So
But now they have evidences.
You see, there is no. This is not the evidence. This is the
Yes, no,
consequence.
I know that
This is the consequence exactly. But so whatever I mean, what Israel does. Israel does what needs to be done, and then the media will follow. You see, it's like they digging the way for the water. The media will follow, and we actually have to do the same. We need to finish this operation, the special military operation of armed forces of Ukraine in Kursk, and we'll see what happens then.
And it's very interesting. We, on the contrary, can see how Ukrainian and Russian forces are working. It wasn't any journalists in Bucha, in Hostomel.
There were no.
And
journalists, right.
in the first days when Ukrainian President Zelensky announced that, yes, it's our forces in Kursk region, so many journalists, not only from Ukraine, but from
Western
other
media,
countries,
right.
they were allowed to to make
reports.
Yeah.
They should. Yeah, of course. I mean,
It's about how open we are and how closed and hypocritical are Russians.
Because if hypothetically in the March of 2022 some Russian journalists were working with Russian army in the Bucha, they must shooting the raping, stealing all the stuff from the houses because we know that Russian, according to Ukrainian intelligence intercepted calls, Russian called home and said we are came into the Ukrainian Rublyovka. It's a very rich district of Kiev, but it was
It's a small town.
it was a small town in suburbs of Kiev. There are living some young families.
Young professionals and
Yes,
just,
who couldn't buy some
exactly real estate in Kiev.
yes, and they buy their
True.
homes in the suburbs,
So this is
and they were not rich. It was similar. It was common people in Ukraine.
So I think what we need to do is we need to keep on be careful to talking about it as an official governmentally owned channel, but what Sergey is talking about and what you are talking about, these are long-term things that in the future everybody will see the difference. At the moment of this haze, nobody cares about that because everyone is like, when people are looking at the war and they think really that when they close their notebook, the war just stops there.
Mhm. For them, yes.
For them, yes, and this is actually the case. For them, the war stops, and then tomorrow, oh my God, I'm so tired about this news from Ukraine, But these are the people. They've always been like that, and we were like that when we've been hearing about some wars in Africa. Who cares? We have our own problem, So this is the world. This is the human society all over the planet. There will be no other humans, never. So what we have to do is what we have to do. We have to finish it. I'm sure that our military have the plan and they totally understand the risk of what's going on. But to defeat a big army, a small army must be smarter. That's it.
Of course.
Yes, and about the informational support of this operation in
Right.
Kursk, I think that all the journalists that are working on the territory that under Ukrainian control,
Right.
they are making a very good thing because we had I think that different journalists had hundreds of hours of footages from these territories. And we saw the interview of residents of these settlements, and they said that it's okay. It comes because no one hurts us. We are still in our shops.
Exactly. Well, this is the propaganda, the natural thing. Because if you don't hurt people, there's no. There are millions of Russians living in there, millions of people living around the Kursk region, and they have a connection to their families, to their friends
and
over there. And
but-
they
but-
immediately, like that, when you hurt someone, it will be spread all over.
Yes, but Russian media nowadays is talking to everyone that Ukrainian is Nazis, is rapist, but
Okay.
there are no evidence.
Of
There
course,
are no
but
evidence.
there will be no evidence, but they can-
no evidence will be because Russia will make them.
Okay.
But now we have footages of how living in these settlements is now. And of course, when Russia will liberate it, and I think that I think that it will happen. I don't know when, but in some time Ukraine will must leave these territories.
Okay.
But it will live under the shellings of Russian glide bombs, under the shelling of Russian artillery. Of course, all these settlements will be wiped out from the earth.
Because Russians
Yes,
like to
because
do
of
it.
Russia.
No, because the Russians would have to bomb their own nation.
Yes, and
Well,
but after the taking of under control of this territory, they will make shootages, something like what is happening in Bucha, in Izum, and then told, you see, it was in
Sure they
Bucha
will.
shootages, but
Well,
this
sure.
is the truth. But we now have the evidences that what is happening
Exactly.
now is a normal life. Under military control, but
Nobody
it's
would ever. I mean, the people who want to believe Russia will believe Russia, whatever. Do you remember that
Unfortunately,
these
yes.
guys were talking about the Ukrainian fight geese? Fighting geese. It's like a fighter jet. Can you imagine the face of the fighter jet's pilot when he's like cruising in his cockpit and the Ukrainian fighting goose is just like cruising? And the people believed this. This is the absolute bullshit. Maybe this is the biggest bullshit in the galaxy, or maybe in the universe, and they still want to believe. So those who want to believe it, they will believe.
Of course.
But you're absolutely right. We have to be ready. We have to be prepared because Russian propaganda is definitely our enemy, and we'll do everything possible to show that we are Nazis and we are whatever, our cats and dogs are Nazis, and who cares? I mean, we were killing and murdering and raping, doing the same what they did in Ukraine. But this is only internally for Russia. Nobody in the world would ever believe this anymore.
But I don't think that their goal is to work on territory of whole world.
Exactly. This is
It's
not
for
the
homeland,
It's for the homeland. And for
yeah.
the, Ukrainians are awful people, an awful nation, does awful things. This is the narrative
I'm
that
not
is
agree-
already
Yeah.
embedded in Russian society.
I'm not agree with you, both
Okay.
of you, because Russian is working on Western audience.
But
They
this is
have
the-
other ways to work on Western countries.
Like Russia Today, for example.
For example,
well,
yeah.
they would have to change their name, like for Russia Yesterday.
So, okay, it was be Kursk, Kursk public.
Television.
No. It's Kursk Public Republic.
Republic.
Republic, yes. Because it's maybe a different country.
Yeah, the new currency, new president.
Yes,
Right.
why not? But they are working. They are working not in such a straight way. They are spreading some information that is Ukrainian is not is more worse than Russians, because all this information that are they are not, now they are spreading about the nuclear bomb that Ukraine will
Dirty bomb.
Again,
yes.
again, and again.
And again,
yeah.
but you know, if I am a Western, I will be afraid of nuclear bomb, because if some sunshine in Ukraine, it's some.
Who cares?
Who
But
cares?
fifth time about this dirty bomb. I think that Western people they heard about this for 2, 3, 4 times
Well, I
when
heard about it
Russians.
for hundreds
but-
of years. You know, the people, the dictators were talking about that for all the time.
But
All the time. When I asked Glenn Grant, again, I've asked Glenn Grant, ex-military, British military, who's lieutenant colonel, just by the way, and the guy was working in the nuclear unit of British Army for 3 years. So he said, the moment Russia will go nuclear, whatever, this is a provocation to show that the Ukrainians used the dirty bomb. The dirty bomb was not nuclear bomb, but what, anyway. So it's the end of it. Everyone is waiting for that. Nobody's going to allow Russia to it's the end of Russian military complex as such.
But they could do some accident on the Kursk NPP.
yes, they can.
Kursk
And
NPP.
maybe-
Yes, they can.
Maybe
And then told that it was Ukrainians, because if Ukraine will not take under control some regions of Kursk
I know what to do. We have Rafael Grossi. Rafael Grossi can
Yeah.
go right to the Kursk to look at the mines and say these are Ukrainian mines, but that's for safety.
I
I mean-
okay. One week ago, Zaporizhia nuclear. There was a fire on Zaporizhia nuclear power
Right,
plant.
I remember that.
Some. Do you know what is International Agency of Atomic Energy said about this fire?
I think that was a fire for safety.
No, it was a fire on the high of 10 meters, but we don't know what is happening there. 1 week passed, and they didn't know what is happening there, because it was 10 high meters, and Russian did not allow them to the point where the fire was started. But everyone,
how strange.
but if you ask anyone in the West, ordinary resident, did you know about this fire? If he or she know about this fire,
Right.
she told that the source was Ukrainian bombing of drone. No, there are no evidence of this drone, but Russians
But it
spread.
doesn't matter. There is an evidence. People still think these are
Yes,
these were Ukrainians.
because it was said, but by Russian propaganda, and
So
even
the Russian
even,
propaganda is working quite
Yes.
good, isn't it?
Yes.
Yes, and
for a long time.
this is main point, not to listen the Russian propaganda, and the main point for the Western media not to repeat the words of Russian propaganda.
But we have to make them not to do this. We have to give them the news, because if
No,
you
no.
can't change
you
this.
see, if you are a Reuters reporter, you couldn't said that Lavrov said it was Ukrainians. No, if Lavrov said it was lie. You couldn't quote the Lavrov. You couldn't quote the Putin. You must
like
write lie, Lavrov said that the first word is lie.
I mean, of course, yes, I would do that, but that means you're not Reuters reporter anymore.
Yep.
You know, this is the Reuters reporters we're born in the conditions that there's someone said this, someone said that, let's discuss it. But this is not a matter of discussion. I know, they are not at war. And we, as a Ukrainian governmental propaganda, a Ukrainian state propaganda, have to give them a reason to talk more about Ukraine. This is how you change their mind. You don't have to change my mind, brother. I know what you're thinking. So, and I absolutely agree. Lavrov is made of Russian lies, and I mean, I prefer enemies than friends because enemies will always keep you disciplined more than any friend ever
That's
can.
true.
So, we know that they are enemies. Jesus Christ. For God's sake, we know that the enemies who want to ruin our state and murder us, okay? So we are not looking for the propaganda. Say, oh my God, how treacherous, this is bad. Yes, this is bad, because this is from Russia with hate. I mean, this is what they do. So we have to counter, we have to be looking for a way to counter Russian lies. How do we do it? Also lies?
No, we must raise the journalist standards.
Okay.
Because if someone told something,
Exactly.
it's not a truth. It's not a journalist to repeat when something from the Kremlin said something. Because it's like.
So you have to analyze.
Yes.
As
yes.
a journalist, of
yes.
course.
Not just repeat the.
Absolutely agree with you. How do you do that? How do you raise the standards? By what?
By making, not reading such information first. As customer, you must don't read this information because it is not the truth. And and if you are a manager of some such media, you must to push your journalists to work, not to rewrite, but to work. If you want the truth, you must write. Or for example. Every information about the Kursk region, there must be one string underline. The Gerasimov said on August the 10th that Ukraine is now stopping. And if you after a month there are some information from the Kursk region, and you a month read that Gerasimov said that they are stopped, not will stopped, but they are stopped. Ukrainian forces are stopped, and something like happening, and 1 month passed, and
So you have to check this information.
I know.
yes,
I
and
have-
you must write this information every time because Russian are lying every time.
Let's do that. Let's become the English-speaking media that raised the standards. But you know, we immediately will be losing this war, this media war, to Russians now, because the Russians are not raising the standards. They're bringing standards to a new low. This is how they win. They're making shit looking
No,
even more.
I'm not agree with you.
You can don't agree with me. I like it. I just love it.
Because if you are because
This is how they win the fight. I mean, they lie more about the lies.
But
and
if
you're
you
trying
are
to
making,
raise the standard.
if you are making some low standard food, no one will eat.
Of
them.
course they will.
No.
Oh, they will.
Because
They're
it's
eating-
cheap.
Because it's cheap. You know, and
It's
sometimes-
shit.
Yeah, I know.
Yep.
So,
Not cheap, cheap.
If you
but
don't-
it looks like lollipop, you know. So anyways,
Maybe.
these guys will suck it anyway. So, yeah.
So if you don't want to eat some shit, and
Don't listen to Russian media.
yes, listen to the UATV channel, the Gates Project, and see you next time.
See you next time. Bye.